Anyways, let's move on. Speaking of, speaking of cloud-based subscription service companies getting into gaming, Netflix scoops up Oxenfree developer Night School. The streaming giant continues its push into gaming. Everybody wants to get a piece of the gaming action, and Netflix is no different. They are sitting there with their grubby little hands out, going, "Gimme, gimme, gimme." And they got. And the first thing they got was Oxenfree's developer, Night School. I haven't played Oxenfree. I wanted to. I remember watching the trailer and thinking it looked like Stranger Things, the game. But I'll give it a shot at some point. Actually, do I own that? Maybe I bought it. I don't think I did. No, I didn't buy it. I bought Limbo. I must be thinking of Limbo. I thought... I guess I didn't. It's not bad games, is it? No, okay, I didn't. At some point, I'll give it a shot, though, and play it. But let's see what this is all about. Netflix wants to get into this market, too. And again, I already pay for Netflix. So if this is a similar situation where it's like, oh, your Netflix subscription already gets you in on the ground floor for whatever games you release on our service, then I'm for it. Netflix is continuing to push into video games with the acquisition of Night School Studio, the team best known for 2016's Oxenfree and 2019's Afterparty. Oxenfree, it should be noted, had strong Stranger Things vibe. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. And Night School also previously worked on a canceled Stranger Things title. Night School wants to stretch our narrative and design aspirations across distinctive original games with heart. Night School's Sean Krenkill said in a statement, Netflix gives film, TV, and now game makers an unprecedented canvas to create and deliver excellent entertainment to millions of people. Our explorations in narrative, gameplay, and Netflix's track record of supporting diverse storylines or storytellers was such a natural pairing it felt like both teams came to this conclusion instinctively. Yeah, I bet. I bet they... Yeah. As I was reading that, I just envisioned the meeting in my head. And, you know, Netflix's business folk walk into the room with like a suitcase and just open it, and there's like a spread of hundreds, and like those dudes' eyes just get start bulging out of their eye sockets, and they're just like, yeah, you got yourself a deal. You had me at flomp pop. You had me at that. And, you know, and then he comes out and he's like, our explorations in narrative, gameplay, and Netflix's track record of supporting diverse storytellers was such a natural pairing, it felt like both teams came to this conclusion instinctively. It's like, you fucking dicks, dude. It's Netflix. They gave you a fat sack of cash, and you're like, all right, well, it's not going to get any better than this. The studio says it will continue to work on Oxenfree 2 as well as cooking up new game roles. The acquisition is just the latest part of Netflix's ongoing push into games. Earlier this year, the company hired Mike Verdu, formerly of EA and Oculus, to head up its gaming efforts, and it's currently testing having games in its mobile app. Just today, that test expanded to include Spain and Italy. We'll continue working with developers around the world and hiring the best talent in the industry to deliver a great collection of exclusive games designed for every kind of gamer and any level of play, Verdu said as part of today's announcement. Like our shows and films, these games will be included as a part of your Netflix membership, all with no ads and no in-app purchases. Stay tuned for more. Underline that. Like our shows and films, these games will all be included as part of your Netflix membership, all with no ads and no in-app purchases. That's pretty cool. Again, I already pay for Netflix, so cool. Very cool. I wonder how it'll shake out that developers get paid for, I guess, you know, they have their own internal metrics. Netflix is notorious for not letting anybody in on their internal metrics as far as like viewership and whatnot. But it'll be interesting to know. I don't know how privy developers will be to that information also, but I imagine they'll have to be to some degree if they want to figure out if they're actually getting paid adequately for the usage of their product. I imagine those deals, you know, they might just pay up front. Netflix could just do a thing where they drop a fat sack of cash on you. That's what they do for indie movies. Like, they'll buy an indie movie outright, you know, a movie that cost, you know, $10 million to shoot. They'll pay $30 million for it. So like the production studio that shot that $10 million movie is already in the black by like by you know, by $20 million. Who wouldn't take that deal if you're working with like an indie title that's not gonna get screen time in a movie theater? You know, I would do that in a heartbeat if I shot a movie for like $5 million and sold it to Netflix for like 15 or even 10, like $5 million profit. Hell yeah, you know. And but to that end, you know, you might have a situation where that movie on Netflix gets viewed, you know, 30 million times, and you're not getting your commiserate royalty rate that you would be getting if 30 million people went and watched that movie at a theater. You know, movie theater viewership doesn't work that way. But you know, you don't have the freedom to negotiate. I imagine you don't have to. Indie studios don't, in movie regards, and I imagine that indie game developments studios also wouldn't have the freedom to negotiate royalty rates in that regard either. So yeah, if they just purchase Oxenfree, well, that's the thing though. They're not purchasing their games; they purchase the company. So I'm guessing that, you know, they're just gonna pay the company, pay their company employees like they would their normal employees, and they just put those games out. But for any company that wants to release a game on Netflix that isn't owned by Netflix, I don't know how that works. Maybe it's just like the movie market where they just they look at their books. How much this game costs you to develop? Oh, it costs you $25 million to develop this game. We'll buy it for $35 million. So you make a cool 10 mil. And then, you know, maybe that's a worthwhile purchase for Netflix. Maybe the game has the draw that gets the kind of engagement, gets the kind of subscriber upticks that they want, reduces the level of churn that they want to reduce. Maybe it makes it worth it for them in that end. But you know, if it becomes a blockbuster hit, that indie developer may be losing out on a shit ton of money by going that route. But you know, those are the kind of business decisions that you have to make. It's always cool when indie game studios are presented with another avenue with which to release their titles, you know. And it shouldn't all be relegated to Steam or the other one, GOG or whatever that is.